What is happening, everybody? TK here, TK and Drinks. We got another What's the Story coming at you today. It's going to be my interview with my man Jeremy Klausing from Klausing Mead Co. there in Indiana. He'll be on here in a couple minutes, as it looks like will everybody else, because ain't nobody here yet. So, that's how it goes on these early. Oh, looks like some cats are joining in. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for popping in today. As I was just saying, today I, TK Wheeler, have the honor and privilege of get myself all straight here, make myself look somewhat presentable. Have the honor of interviewing my man Jeremy Klausing. Pretty sure that's the pronunciation. We'll get the official on that from him, from Klausing Mead over there in Indiana. This dude is a major player in the homebrew world, takes home all sorts of fucking points with the AMMA, and he has a breadth of different flavors and profiles and everything there on his repertoire. If you check out his profile and everything on like Untapped, lists all his beers that he's made and all the meads. And that was one thing I was surprised. I didn't know he was making making beers too, but he's got some beers on there, he's got some meads on there, and yeah, so definitely excited to check that out. He's even got a couple Mazer Cup awards under his belt as well, and he was kind enough to send me a care package, a couple of which I crushed already, one of which I shared with my buddy on his birthday. But I got my bottle of Neon Dust. I believe it's back here somewhere. Yep, there it is right there. That's what I thought. Yeah, a bottle of Neon Dust right there. And see, extremely impressive stuff as a home mead maker. Yes, I'm definitely a fan of what I've had so far. It looks like he's joined in here, so let's see if we can't get him on. Maybe invite sent. It says invite sent. There we go. Get back. Here we go. Oh man, this is quick tonight. What's going on, brother?
How's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight? Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, of course. I'm doing pretty well.
Excellent. So yeah, I was just giving everybody a quick overview of what I know about you and everything. Go ahead and give yourself a quick little introduction, and we'll get straight away into tasting some of these meads and just talking more about what you got going on.
Sounds good. My name is Jeremy Klausing, obviously Klausing Mead. I've been a home brewer for, I think, about 3 years. Kind of moved over to focusing on mead only in 2020 once the pandemic hit. And just been kind of going crazy, making mead nonstop and just trying to share it with as much people as I can.
Right on. Is there any way you could get a little more volume on your end, please?
Yeah, let's see. Try it.
There we go.
A little better?
Yes,
Okay,
much better.
cool.
Thank you. So yeah, I was also letting everybody know you were kind enough to send me a care package. Cracked a couple of those bottles open already. That Neon Dust I got sitting right there was absolutely phenomenal. That was probably one of the more unique ones that I've had in a long time. What was your thought behind that one? Let me grab that bottle real quick.
That one I was just trying to do a dry hopped mead. I figured mango would go pretty well with it. I used some hop extract from, I believe, Mass Hops, and then some hop terpenes from another spot. But that one kind of got away from me. I don't know if you noticed it's 15%. So
Yeah.
I think it fermented dry to like 19%. So I had to kind of balance it out a little bit. So
Holy cow.
But yeah, it was kind of my first experiment with those hop extracts and the hop terpenes. So I figured mango was a good choice for that.
And how do you feel that it turned out? I think it did phenomenal.
Yeah, it's grown on me. I'd say I'm like my biggest critic. Everything I make sucks. So I just continue to try to get better. But obviously, the stuff that I enjoy the most is the more basic traditional stuff. That's the stuff I'll drink day to day. But yeah, I think it turned out decent.
Turned out pretty decent. Well, you did send me a couple traditionals, and one of the ones I was wanting to save to drink with you, so I get a little bit of your feedback and discussion on it, was this Rebirth here. And this has got the is a traditional with the Princess Tree Blossom, the lemon, and then the coconut blossom honey. So I'm assuming you picked those all up from Sean Harris over there.
I did, yeah. All three of them kind of get anything new from him that I can. That one is my first attempt at doing just a high starting gravity. I think it started at 1173. I fermented it with Omega Lutra to kind of give it a cleaner finish, and then a little bit of lime note to it. But that one, yeah, stopped fermenting. A nice residual sweetness around like 1060. So normally my traditionals, I'll start much lower, ferment dry, and then back sweeten. But that one I think turned out really well.
Gotcha. So what got you into making mead in the first place? You said you've been, really ramping it up since the start of COVID. How'd you get to that place in the first place?
Well, I started up with beer. Obviously, my wife bought me a homebrew kit back in 2019, maybe 2018. Oh, wow. So I haven't been making mead or beer too long. But I had a buddy based out of Illinois that I used to wait in beer sharers and trade beers with all the time, and he introduced me to Manic Mead, which is it kind of got my senses peaked, because it was actually, they're based in Crown Point, which is my hometown. So
gotcha.
That kind of, when I heard about them and tried some of their meads, I thought I'd give it a try, and kind of just took off from there. But I got my buddy Aaron Gregory to thank for getting me started. Ghost of Charlie Murphy, you probably follow him on Instagram. He's a big mead guy.
Ghost of Charlie Murphy. I'll be on the lookout for him. Yeah, and Tony makes some amazing stuff. That's a good person to be introduced to mead to. Yeah,
good stuff. Everything they do is great, and great people.
You gonna go to Sugar Belt this year?
I am, yeah.
Nice.
Went last year and kind of had an impromptu after party, because my parents live right down the road. So
nice.
Like 20, 25 people there, that unexpectedly, but it was a good time. But I'll be there this year for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately at the weekend my kids are getting out of school and already got all sorts of stuff planned, but I definitely am going to make it one of these years out there now that it seems to be an annual thing.
Yeah, it's we're checking out. It's a nice venue. It's covered, so rain or shine, it's a nice shade. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So now this is bubbling a little bit. Was this meant to be lightly carbonated?
No, unintentional.
No. Okay.
But yeah,
it might just be me too. But I love the smell on it. It's got a little bit of a zippy tang. What kind of yeast did you use for this one?
That's the Lutra, Omega Lutra. So yeah, it's I think a Kvike yeast. It throws off some fruity notes, but it's meant to be a little more clean.
I like that. I wasn't expecting the actual lemon to come through, but yeah, you actually get the lemon in there. That Princess Tree comes through. It's almost like almost like an apricot type of note or something in there.
Yeah,
I like
apricot and kind of floral rose notes. He describes those as.
Yeah.
And then the coconut is just kind of use the least amount of coconut, just to kind of didn't want to overtake it.
I would say, yeah, I'm not picking up that, but I don't think I've ever had coconut blossom before. Is it is it a pretty pungent flavor? Or strong?
No, it's not too strong. I think it's got some buttery notes and maybe a little fruity lime to it.
I love the body that these have for being a traditional. They're again nice and full, have a nice legs on them and stuff, but it doesn't have an overly long mouthfeel. It doesn't leave my tongue coated and stuff. It hits me, but then it goes away pretty quick. I like that. Nice. Very warming, no harsh fusel alcohol or anything like that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this traditional, my man. Congratulations, and thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. I think that one was pitched to bottle 3 months. So
that's a solid brew right there.
Yeah.
So one of the things, even this one's called Rebirth. Where did that name come from?
Uh, a lot of my names come from electronic music album
Okay.
names and songs. So that one is a Tin Liquor song called Rebirth,
Okay.
and it kind of just plays on the label itself from the volcano too. So I normally try to figure out a label, try to figure out a name based on a song that I'm kind of listen to a lot at the time, and then go from there.
Yeah, because I'd written down a list of some of the more intriguing names that I come across. I got like, see here, some of my more favorites. Cocoa Feather Bottom.
That one's that one's not a song. That's our neighborhood cat that adopted us. We called her Coco, and our neighbor called her Miss Featherbottom, which I believe is from Arrested Development. Um,
Yeah.
so that was named after my cat, who might make an appearance here in a second.
Uh, uh,
Yep.
there we are. Yes. There. Let's see, what was he? If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the world.
Yeah, I forget where that one was from. That's a quote um, somewhere I found that I really kind of
Yeah.
enjoyed.
Empty corridors of my mind. Yeah, just so great, unique, fantastic names, man. I love it.
Yeah, I think that one's Carl Sagan um, quote.
That sounds
So
that sounds about right.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, I just kind of mainly it's song albums, but then if there's like a quote, movie, TV show, or just something that kind of gets my attention, then I'll go with that. I have a few that are a little too long, but
Yeah, some of them are definitely on the longer side, and that was one of the other things I was going to ask you. If you ever had the intentions of going commercial, and were you going to keep some of these names and flavor profiles if you do?
yeah, it's definitely something I want to do. It's no like concrete plans at this moment. We're
Sure.
looking for real estate in the neighborhood. Kind of want to buy a house and turn that into a house meadery essentially. But yeah, I definitely would keep the names and the flavor profiles. I'd probably upgrade the labels, get some legit artists to help me out with that.
So we had a question come across here. It says, I was a young chef and love Anthony Bourdain. I even have a tattoo of his old restaurant. What is your reason for him on your labels?
I'm a big fan of Anthony Bourdain. His outlook on life and just kind of everything he stood for is always been an inspiration. Love watching all of his shows. Um,
Same.
one of his I think No Reservations, based out of New Orleans. Really just love that episode. Me and my wife eloped in 2020 in New Orleans. Um, so it's just everything he does is great, and
Yeah.
just kind of like to pay respects to him and make you know do charities, fundraisers for different
Yeah.
different things. When
I like everything he like. I would really enjoy watching like No Reservations and some of his his other I can't remember what the last one was he was doing. But everything he said was so like profound. He didn't seem like he wasted words. He was a man who lived a lot of experiences and wanted to share that with the world. He didn't say things lightly. He wanted his words to have an impact, and I think they did have an impact on a lot of people, not just within the culinary world, but people who just can relate to somebody who's been had a rough life and a lot of experiences from that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It's the re- reception of that mead, the first one, Your Body Is Not a Temple, it's an amusement park. Enjoy the Ride. That one kind of took me by surprise at how many people kind of loved that and
Right.
took that to heart and reached out to me to get a bottle. So, I mean, I'm on batch 3 now, and I have one bottle left of batch 2, and I'm slowly running out of batch 3. So I give away everything that I make. I keep probably 1% of it for myself. I used to enter competitions. I slowed down this year just because I entered competitions for feedback, and I think I got to a level where I wouldn't say I don't need the feedback, but I got to a level where I enjoyed sharing with people that enjoy mead and would be able to provide a different level of feedback.
Gotcha. Rather than get the same old feedback from the same competitions and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I love the feedback from the competitions. I love the people that run those. But yeah, last year I think I sent any mead I sent in. I only sent it in once to one competition. So I didn't like send the same mead into every competition because it's if I need feedback, that's how I'm gonna go approach that.
Right. You did take a couple home from Major Cup. What flavor profiles were those ones?
That one I did a New Orleans inspired hand grenade mead, which was a melon mead with gin spices.
Nice.
So that one got me first place in the fruit and spice category. And then I did a bourbon barrel aged goldenrod traditional, which was some local goldenrod honey. And that one got me second place in the, I believe, experimental.
Because it was bourbon barrel aged, it had to go into experimental, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm dying to see more like crazy type of unique stuff like you're doing, as far as like you have a wide variety of profiles that you work with. You don't just stick with like the heavy sweet dessert berry bombs and stuff like that. You do semi-dry stuff. You do dry stuff. Like you're saying, you've done beers and whatnot. I think it that variety plays to the quality of your product. You've been around, you know what's going on. Even if it's only been for a short period of time, you seem to have a brain that picks this stuff up and it just clicks for you, my man. We all notice, and while you say every batch is garbage, we're all out here drooling and salivating and clicking and liking and sharing everything we can to get bottles.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's definitely,
oh.
I try to experiment as much as I can, from masala chai meads to traditionals to the dry hopped mangoes,
Right.
all the way down to some of my white wine meads. The dry white wine meads are some of my favorite that I make. So
yeah, I can only imagine that those are probably pretty fucking phenomenal if these sweet ones are the way they are. You have a real knack for making the stuff. So you did mention that you do a lot of giveaways and stuff. What's the point of giving away? You were mentioning just getting feedback from people, but is it just like like a altruistic thing? You just want to share things with the world?
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk to anybody that's tried it, it's usually whether they're people I've met at breweries or meaderies or traveling, but most of the time it's just people messaging me asking to try it. And if I have it and I have the time, I'll just send it on over to them. It's never sell it, obviously, but I love doing giveaways.
Yeah,
love sharing. The last giveaway I did was a charity as well, so I kind of intertwined with the Face Animal Clinic giveaway for their spay day and raised like $2,400 to go to their community cat program. So it's if I can raise anything for some charities that people enjoy, I'm going to do it.
Man, seem like a cooler and cooler person every time you say something, man. It's like, man, this guy's just like a legitimately genuine, cool human being. So you say you give out to those local charities. Do you work with any of those charities? Like, do you volunteer with them, I'm assuming, as well?
Yeah, I volunteer with Face. They just had another fundraiser that I was a volunteer at, and just was their community cat seller. I sold shirts, I sold tickets. That kind of was the catch-all, running around doing whatever they told me to do. But yeah, anywhere I can volunteer, I'll do it. My company gives us 56 hours of volunteer time, so I have time to take off in the scenarios where I'm needed or wanted during the day. So
that's super cool. That's very cool. Whoever you're working for to do something like that, give them a shout out for that, because that's not something you see very often. Yeah. So with the giveaways and stuff, do you do you sell, and you mentioned just their shirts that you were doing, how do you compensate for like all these shipping costs or something? Or is it just something you like try to eat the costs or whatever? Or I mean, can people buy merch from you? Like, what can we do to help you offset these shipping costs?
Well, oftentimes I'll ask just people just email me a shipping label.
Oh, okay.
That kind of makes it easier. But I've done T-shirts before, stickers, but nothing too crazy.
Okay.
But yeah, I kind of treat everything as marketing, advertising expenses for the future. If I ever do open up a commercial spot, this is kind of my mindset around sharing it to people throughout the country.
I think that's a fantastic marketing plan right there. You're getting your name out there. You're getting all sorts of, like you're saying, feedback. You got competition feedback. You're getting feedback from your friends and your family and everything like that. And then just just your meat junkies and stuff out there. So you're definitely taking the breadth of information across and
Yeah.
taking it all in. So right on, man.
Yeah, I think someone asked if we can get some mead glasses. It's something I've been looking into. It's just been trying to figure out the right design and glassware.
Oh, I got you.
So,
Oh man, yeah, freaking. Do you have any plans on doing any judging?
I do not. I'm not a certified mead judge or beer judge. My palate's not the best, so
Gotcha.
I just assume I would suck at it. So I don't.
I just assumed that I would suck at it.
So I'll leave that to the professionals.
Okay, well, what was the first mead you ever made, and how did it turn out?
Oh, what was it? I don't even know. It was I think an apple pie mead. Tasted like gasoline.
Ooh, nice.
So that was before I kind of knew what nutrients were and yeast rehydration, but didn't necessarily understand entirely how to go about it. So,
Okay.
And I also wasn't necessarily mindful of what yeast I was using. Obviously, starting off, you get a kit or you get something from Amazon and you just use the first yeast that comes through. And but yeah, I might have one or two bottles left of that. But yeah, that one definitely had some fusels. I don't even know what the first mead I made was that I thought tasted decent, but I think maybe it was a white wine mead with pears that I made for our honey or for our wedding that we gave away to people that stayed at our wedding hotel.
Nice. That's a pretty cool concept too. I always like the idea of the custom meads with custom labels for special events and stuff like that. I think it's something that's underutilized in the mead world. There's a lot of people that do it, but I think the consumer base is just kind of unaware of the process and the product and stuff.
Yeah.
So that being said, are you out for hire for not for selling, but for expenses and whatnot? If somebody wanted to have a wedding mead made.
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm up for hire. I did just do one for my well, I wouldn't say that I have time or fermenters open to do that now, but I did recently just do one for our friends that used to live in Indy and moved in Chicago, and they just got married a month or two ago, and I gifted them about 100 bottles of mead that they gave away to all their wedding guests. So
very cool. That's super awesome. I bet they were excited about that.
Yeah, it was a Sauv Blanc and a Riesling blend, off dry. I think it turned out really well, actually. I kept 3 bottles for myself, and I gave the rest to them. So
very cool. And then so you're doing all that, and one of the things that I was curious about how it works, so hopefully you can let me in a little bit more, is you've got a collab with Second City of there in Chicago. How does that work as a home brewer having a I don't know if it's an official collab. I mean, you're not selling it and all that stuff, but I mean, that's got to feel pretty damn cool.
Yeah, no, it was pretty awesome. Just kind of connected with Peter at Second City. He asked if we want to do a collab. We just talked over Instagram for a couple weeks, and then went up there one day and knocked out the mango blackberry mead.
Yes.
Kind of just spitballed ideas on what fruits we wanted, what yeast, what honey. So
Yeah.
it definitely was a great experience. Yeah, I mean, everything's done at his facility. It's the collab is me just kind of being there, and also just my name on the label. So
Right.
it's pretty
Hey,
awesome.
I say that's huge, man. I think a lot of people would be are envious of your situation right there. So
Yeah,
the quality of your product though speaks for itself. So I definitely think you're in the right house, in the right wheelhouse there.
yeah, appreciate
Um,
it. We're working on a second one as we speak. So
with Second City or with another brewer?
second city, and then
Okay.
there's another meadery in Las Vegas opening up, Deadwood Meadery, that
Yes.
I might be heading out there sometime after they open to collab on a mead as well.
Yeah, I need to get up there. That's only like a 4.5 hour drive from my house. I definitely need to get up there. I've been following them on Instagram as well. Been talking about potentially doing an interview with them as well. So yeah, definitely think that's freaking cool. I like to see all these cats doing collabs for like across the country and as well as right down the road.
Oh yeah,
I think it speaks to the camaraderie of the meat industry. I think a lot of people are I don't know. I don't know what's the word. There's a lot of people that are coming up right now. I feel like it's like almost like a renaissance in the meat. You have a lot of cats that have been there, established in there for a while. There's a few cats that have been there for for like 5-6 years. But the amount of meaderies that have been open just for the past 2 or 3 years that even opened during the pandemic is just astronomical to me. And all these cats, probably because they've went through all this trauma together, have this sense of, again, like I said, camaraderie and companionship, and to see everybody just pulling together and trying to bring everybody up. I think it's really amazing, and I'm glad I get to witness it from the outside. It feels, like I said, like watching the Renaissance happen.
oh yeah, it's a great community. I love it. It's I don't know. Everybody I've met has been super nice, super helpful, and it's just great to see everyone, experience
Yeah.
mead and get to try it, and bringing more people to enjoy it.
Well, speaking of trying mead, I think I'm gonna crack open my second bottle here. The one I want to open and try, but I can't bring myself to do it, is the Anthony Bourdain. The Journey Changes You. That it's just too pretty. I gotta wait for my wife to be ready to drink that one because she's a huge Anthony Bourdain fan. But one I did save, again, another. Oh, excuse me, and one of the berry forward ones. It's called Law of Surprise.
Nice.
So what's you give everybody the quick overview on this cat here?
So that one, I'm trying to remember, it's what is it? Cherry, black
Currant. Yep.
currant, maple, cinnamon, vanilla.
Yeah. And the one that intrigued me, it says possibly cashews.
Oh yeah, cashews on that one too. So that one I had 3 gallons left over of empty corridors of my mind, which was the same mead without cinnamon and maple and cashews. So I just aged it, and one day I was like, hey, I'll just go ahead and switch it up and age it on cashews, toss in some maple, just a hint of cinnamon. It's Ceylon cinnamon. Didn't want to overpower it with cinnamon, and I'm not sure how I haven't had it in a while, so I'm not sure how the cashew is coming through, but I think I did about 2 pounds per gallon at least of toasted cashews in there. So it was my first go with cashews, because everyone in the mead world loves cashews.
Right. Yeah. There's a handful of cashew meads out there that I've been dying to try. I've yet to get my hands on. So this is my first one. So I'm definitely excited about that. Yeah. The comments started coming in. The cashews are fire. Law of Surprise was so good. What? Man, cherry, black currant, cinnamon, vanilla, maple, and cashew. What is it that you're doing to this stuff to make these flavors just so popping, so pungent? Like as soon as I hit that, the maple and the cinnamon just like boom, boom. And it's just outrageous. Are they adding them in primary? Is it secondary only? Is it like 50 pounds a gallon? What are we doing here?
Yeah, any spices or kind of cashews, nuts, anything like that, I'll add in secondary. So cinnamon,
Okay.
maple, secondary, cashews, secondary, vanilla, obviously secondary. So those, if I were to add those in primary, the flavors would just get blown off
Muted.
from the yeast and muted. So yeah, anytime I want to have those flavors pop, I will add those in secondary. Um,
Okay.
the maple, I've tried to ferment with maple a few times, and it doesn't really work out too well, and the flavor never sticks. So I've learned to just add in
Stick with
secondary.
secondary.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Man,
and that's just a dark grade B or robust dark maple syrup that kind of punches the maple notes a little more.
I like it because the nose on it is very sugar forward, so it appears like it's going to be very sweet on the palate with all that maple and the cinnamon and that even the vanilla comes through, and the berries almost kind of take a back seat on the nose, but then on the flavor palate it's quite the opposite. The berries are right there in your face. It's the sweetness, the tartness from the berries, and the subtleness of the maple syrup and the cinnamon come through, and then yeah, that kind of nuttiness from the cashews is in there too. That's a trip, man. The law of surprises is right, man. It surprises you. It
Surprise.
hits you with the yeah, total surprise, man. That holy cow.
Yeah,
So
no, that was a fun one to experiment with. I love being able to just do small batches, 3 gallons, 5 gallons, and
yeah,
just kind of just roll with it. And if it sucks, it's a small batch. It doesn't really matter. And if it's good, then it's
then
it's a
then
it's
it's
great.
good. How many batches you've sent down the sink?
I'd say three maybe.
Yeah, just
One of them
not salvageable at all.
one of them I thought was infected,
Ooh,
and I bottled about half of it, and I just kind of let it sit, and I drained the rest. But that one ended up not being infected, and ended up being like one of the ones that people love. I believe it's Annihilation is all we are. I think it was a blueberry blackcurrant mead, with maple. So
what a fitting name for being poured down the drain.
right. So, but it wasn't too much lost, and
Yeah,
but the other ones that I've poured down was a traditional that I oxidized. So,
yeah,
but it's yeah, hasn't been too many considering.
yeah. That's good news. And I would say astonishes me because it sounds so rude to say it that way, but I'm just taken aback by like your presence in the mead scene for having just become a home brewer so quick and making such a splash. Like you were in the top 10 of the AMMA home brewers of the year last year. You took Mazer Cup medals, and you've been in it for officially less than 3 years, or right around the 3 year mark. That's some serious clout, and I feel like a fanboy. Like I said, I'm just swooning. I feel like a lot of people out there are saying the same thing because it's just so cool to have access to something like this, and you just give the stuff away, and it's a real treat to have somebody like you in the industry. What inspires you to keep going? Is it the feedback, the positive feedback? Is it just the drive to continue to make great products?
Yeah, I'd say it's the feedback. It's the ability to experiment and come up with new flavors, new labels, new ideas, and also to just potential to raise money for charities. Um, it's always nice when I give a mead to someone who's never had mead, or who they think it's a one-dimensional thing, and
Right.
then I get the feedback that wow, that's great, or wow, my mom really loved that. It's like, wasn't expecting this flavor, things like that. It's always great to hear, and it definitely keeps me going. But I'd say that just being able to experiment and share it with everyone is the main driver there.
Main driving force. Yeah, it's got to feel cool when you hear those positive feedbacks from people who either had the negative outlook on the situation or were just completely just like muted to it. Oh, I don't know what that is. I'm not really interested. And then to have them fall in love with it, like, man, I really like that. I want more. That's definitely gotta feel good. Um, so who inspires you in the mead world? You said you'd had some manic stuff. Do you know Tony? Have you ever talked with him or spoke with him or anything?
Yeah, no, I've talked to him a few times, him and Keith. They
Hmm.
definitely inspire me. They're, great people. Everyone that works at Manic is great. They're obviously expanding into the craft beer world with Gnosis. That's awesome to
Hmm.
see. Um, Standard, I love Standard has got to be one of the best meaderies in the country. That I feel like it gets the credit and the notice, but some people that I talk to, they don't necessarily know who Standard is.
Yeah.
But they're definitely the top three in the country for me. But I'd say the one that inspires me the most, I'd say, is probably Lost Cause. They're Everything I've ever had from them has been insanely good. They do each style differently, and they do it so well. Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just great to see everything that they do.
Yeah, Billy's insane. That dude's brains on like a whole nother level. Like their artwork on their bottles, just their whole program that they've got going there is, and plus they're just super cool people on top of that.
Yeah, everything they do is great.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to stumble across a Coveter's B1 bottle, and that's has the I don't know if you've worked with any of those, but the candy cat mushrooms that smell like maple syrup.
Haven't
Man,
haven't worked with it, but yeah, he's the king of mushrooms for sure.
king of mushrooms in his mead. Well,
Yeah,
and there's a place up in Washington State, Hierophant. They use some botanical mushrooms and stuff in there. It's not so much for the aromatics, but yeah, anybody that's doing something funky like that with the mushrooms and the out of the ordinary adjuncts, I'm always looking out for those and stuff.
oh yeah,
So I can see why you would say Lost Cause would be one of your inspirations. Have you been out to San Diego?
I haven't. It's definitely
Yeah.
something I want to do.
Yeah, having them only 6 hours away, I feel like a total schmuck for not having made it out there yet.
Uh,
It's,
six, 6 hours is kind of far, but yeah,
it is, but if I'm doing what I'm doing, I think I should be able to make a 6 hour journey happen and just maybe not just whenever I need to, but I definitely need to be able to make it happen because, like you said, those guys are doing something on a whole nother level.
yeah.
Um, So you said you potentially have plans of opening up a meter, and you got a couple collabs in the work. What can people expect to see from you coming up here in the next throughout the rest of the year? We just seeing more bottle drops? Do you have anything special up your sleeve for everybody?
Uh, yeah, I'm just continuing on sharing stuff I make. I have a bunch of things in barrels right now. I'll be bringing a ton with me to Sugar Belt to share and give away after uh, anybody that wants. I might go there early, but yeah, I have I have a bourbon barrel aged traditional mead right now that I'm gonna age on some bananas and a few other adjuncts. Um, I'm working on a few different fruits that I'm gonna blend and age in an old 55 bourbon barrel. So that one's gonna be a longer project because that's a 30-gallon barrel that
Gotcha.
that'll probably age for 5-6 months, and then I'm gonna probably double barrel that another 10 gallons from there and do some different things. So anytime I do anything over 10 gallons, I like to split it up and do a few different variants and adjuncts for that. So that's kind of what's going on in the future. Um,
Okay.
Lots of
Where where do you store all these barrels at? Your wife must be incredibly accommodating to have a portion of her house taken over by barrels.
we have a little, I don't even know how big it is, 10 by 10 room in our basement that it was essentially dead space utility area that was going to be
Okay.
my beer room, and then it turned into my homebrew room.
Nice.
So I have two 10-gallon barrels and a 5-gallon barrel, and I probably have um, 6 more fermenters full from anywhere between 3 to 15 gallons.
Okay.
And then
You've got-
all of my meads down there too. There's a lot.
That's good. What's your temperature control like down there? Is it pretty steady?
Yeah, it sticks around 67 or so.
Beautiful.
So it's like the perfect temp to ferment and age. I don't use any temperature control for any of my meads. I tend to pick yeast that can handle higher temps, but it's usually a steady 65 to 70 degrees. So it's good.
Pretty much perfect temperature for you. You had mentioned the Omega, and then I think I've read that you use Voss Kveik a couple different times. What do you have, like a go-to brand? Are you an Omega guy? Do you pretty much are you powdered? Do you liquids? What's the yeast situation there, like the Klausing house?
I don't have like a go-to.
Sorry, your wife says the house is basically always a science experiment. That's hilarious.
Yeah. She knows. She says if there's anything out that she doesn't recognize or know what it is, she just stays away from it. So, but
wow.
Yeah, I don't. Dry yeast is what I use probably 99% of the time. I try to just match the flavor profile with the yeast I'm using. So, Neon Dust used the Voss Kveik, that traditional that you had first. That was a Lutra, which could be used as like a faux lager yeast, so it's a little cleaner. But I use a lot of DV10, D21,
Okay.
D254, just the whole range. I probably have 25 different yeasts, dry yeast in my fridge downstairs, just ready to use.
At any given time, just got a whole library on deck.
Yep, whole library. I probably have 100, 200 pounds of honey, just scattered different types.
Yeah.
Just waiting to be used.
You just whenever you're out and you see somewhere, you just grab it. Like, I need 5 pounds of this, or I need a bucket of this.
Yeah, I usually try to go to the farmer's market locally. I'll get buckets from one of the local guys, or clover from Wayne Gibbons is my go-to. Clover, and then obviously these days Sean in Hawaii. He's been supplying everybody these days.
Yeah, that dude's got a ridiculous amount of honey, and he has a ridiculously good price and whatnot. So I don't understand how that guy's even making money. But
I know it's wild, but I like it.
And in the fact that it's everywhere, everybody's using his stuff. It's part of that whole like camaraderie in the industry. I don't know. I mean, I know he's been doing it for a long time, but I don't know how long he's really been a part of like an integral part of like the homebrew community and the clubs and all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, his stuff is great. He sent me a couple pounds of Uli Blossom honey and some Princess Tree honey, and then a pack of the vanilla beans as well. I'm making a traditional out of that Uli Blossom honey for a mead competition. I did 3 pounds of that with the Voss Kveik yeast, and try to make it, well, I tried to go semi-sweet, but I ended up going a little bit on the sweet side. I finished at like 1040. So it turned out really well. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. 1040 and 1050 with a little bit of back sweetening, and I just put some acid and some French oak cubes in there because my first traditional was a little bit boring. The flavor was good. It didn't have any like fusel taste or anything, but it was just like really flat and muted. So I figured throw some acid and some tannins in there. Maybe that'll liven it up a little bit.
Yeah, I love using American and French oak, and then tartaric acid is. For any of my traditionals, I'd usually give it at least like a gram per liter addition.
Oh. Yeah, I was using standard, so I think for my 1 gallon, I put in a little less than a quarter teaspoon.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I just tasted it, did a little bench trial with it, and tasted it, and just once it got to where I needed it to be, I figured it was good to go there. But yeah, I definitely think you have to do something to your traditional. Just the honey and water yeast isn't going to be enough to get you where you need to go. And then, so what's your favorite honey varietal to work with? You've got quite a repertoire across your meads there. Do you have one that's like, man, I'm just a huge fan of like the coconut blossom or the meadow foam. Everybody's a fan of meadow foam, though.
Oh yeah, I definitely would say Wayne Gibbons clover, white clover, is easily my favorite. It makes an awesome traditional with some cinnamon notes that I sent to Mazer Cup. I got a perfect score on, and I didn't get a medal. So if that tells you how the competition there. It's wild, but that's definitely my favorite honey to use. And usually, I think that's anytime I make that traditional, it's my wife's favorite as well.
A white clover honey traditional. Yeah, that definitely sounds really, really good. I don't think I've ever had a white clover. The lighter honeys are ones that I haven't really come across too much in my honey travels, usually much darker stuff. And the lighter ones really intrigue me.
Yeah, that one fermented pretty much water white, so it's so clear. Mm-hmm. Looked like a seltzer water.
That's awesome. Oh, man. So, yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot those across. Definitely trying to keep an eye on this. Sometimes this goes so fast I can't quite see what's going on there. But
so you make a lot of your own mead too?
I don't actually. I just got started into making my own mead. This whole thing started off as me trying to get my judging credentials, and then I got to a point to where it sounds kind of stupid, but like I was tasting so many good meads, I felt like I was really doing myself a disservice by not tasting any flawed stuff. So I figured the easiest way to taste flawed stuff was to start making my own.
That is a good way to do it.
Yeah, and so far I'm on my second and third batches. My first one, like I said, was just really boring, so I think I learned a lot from that. I feel like I'm actually kind of cheating because I'm using the Voss Kveik yeast, and that's a pretty hardy yeast. You can do a lot of damage to that, stress it out a lot, and it's not going to give you off any real, funky off notes or anything. So, like I said, I feel like I'm kind of cheating by not using D47 or D71 or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's very forgiving, that yeast.
Exactly. So my first one was that mesquite blossom, and then I got that uli blossom honey, and then my third one I'm doing was a manuka honey traditional. I highly recommend not doing that to anybody out there who's thinking about it, at least not for a traditional. If you're going to use it in something because you want to make like a metheglin, I think it would really lean itself towards something like that. But man, it fermented again. I think it stopped at like 1040 in the 1035, 1040 range, and it has a hard time not tasting like Jägermeister. I mean, I would just be honest with you. It tastes like roots and dirt and medicine.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Isn't that the?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever had it. What's that?
Isn't Manuka super expensive?
So yeah, it is. I didn't realize how little some of the commercial mead makers were paying for their meads until I was talking to one of my buddies. And he's like, yeah, I usually pay about, anywhere between $2.50, $3.50, $4 a pound. I'm like, oh yeah, this Manuka honey was like $38 a pound.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was for like the grade 5. If you wanted to go up to like the grade 10 or whatever, it was double that. It was about $70 a pound. But I mean, that's again retail and from a reputable source, a true, Manuka honey graded, certified, all that from New Zealand and everything. So I imagine if you wanted to reach out to them directly and buy it in bulk, you'd probably be able to get a better price. But yeah, retail was about $38 a pound.
Wild.
Yeah. But I just wanted to try it. I figured I had to give it a shot. I had an opportunity. I had the money. It presented itself in front of me, and I talk a lot of shit on the show for not being somebody who makes any mead. So I figure I might as well put my money where my mouth is, so to speak, and start making some meads. But that's why I'm a huge fan. Like, I really enjoy trying the commercial stuff, but like trying homebrewer stuff like you, and I started reaching out to more homebrewers because I want to get the whole gamut. I want homebrewers. I want commercial mead makers. I want to try the whole, like I said, the whole gamut of everything. And taking stuff like this from somebody who's been doing it for as little time as I've even known what the meat industry was on this type of scale is endearing to know that somebody can, if they put their heart and soul and passion into it, can produce something so kick-ass. See here, we got a couple questions coming across. Any desires to start beekeeping or producing your own honey?
I do not. I don't think I live in downtown Indianapolis, so I don't really have the space or the ability to do that. And
Yeah.
there's just so many other better people out there that's doing it. So I just do one thing
Gotcha.
at a time and stick to what I know how to do. So no, yeah, no, none of that in the works are planned.
Get some beer questions. Well, I got a brag. How about any braggot projects or any saisons or ESPs?
No braggots planned yet. I probably will do. I've had a dark lager braggot with coffee planned for a while, but
Ooh,
just brewing. That's what I think I was going to use Lutra and kind of have like a faux lager with some darker honeys, but just
interesting.
brewing beer is just it takes so much time and cleaning and everything. It's a
Yeah.
pain. It's a pain. So that's kind of why I enjoy doing mead. I can do it in my kitchen and 30 minutes have a batch ready for yeast pitch. But
Right.
saisons might be fun, especially with all these barrels that I have. I know I've had a few people reach out to me to try to get the used barrel to do something like that with the used mead barrel.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting. Says, what's your favorite fruit to work with? They're saying black currant is definitely one of their favorites to drink. I agree. Yeah, black currant meads and red currant meads are certainly amongst some of my more favorite mellow meals.
Yeah, I would definitely say black currant and red raspberry are probably my two favorites to make and work with. I feel like I've made a few blueberry ones. Those are usually decent. But anything raspberry or black currant is just head and shoulders above anything else, in my opinion.
And do you source all your fruit from the same place, or do you just kind of get it and pick up what you can as you come across good sources?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Black currants I source from Northwest Wild Foods, and then also Currency, and then any other fruit. Yeah, I try to get it where I can,
Okay.
local spots or sometimes Webstaurant. Their fruit's not the best quality, so I kind of stay away from them these days.
Yeah.
But Northwest Wild Foods is great, but it's a little pricey, so try to.
Do you Do you use any of like the amarettis or anything like that? I'm assuming not.
I have the toasted marshmallow is probably the main one I have used that has produced good results, but
Okay.
there's not really. I've used them a few times, especially for beer, but it never comes across as good as it should.
Yeah.
I've used the watermelon, so anytime I do use like amaretti or an extract like that, I always pair it with the actual fruit. So if I'm doing like a watermelon mead, I'm going to do a ton of
Yeah.
watermelon in secondary, and then if I need to punch up the flavor a little bit, then I usually dose it like a third of what they recommend because I don't want it to taste artificial. But if I need just a little
Right.
punch of flavor,
Nice.
I'll give it a try. I'm not afraid to use those different tools out there to kind of help the flavor. But yeah, most of them I try to stay away from.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the extracts and all that type of stuff myself. Like you said, sometimes they definitely come across a little more artificial. But I guess in the case of that watermelon, the toasted coconut definitely makes sense. But that watermelon one, you see so few watermelon meads out there. How did that one that you made turn out? Did it come across as something you would do again, or was it kind of just like a, you know what, this was a nice one and done. We'll never do this again because it was such a mess and disaster.
No, yeah, it turned out really well. Usually when I do those weird experiments like that, I also will throw some glitter in it. So the first one I made had edible glitter, and I made a simple syrup with watermelon Jolly Ranchers too with that one. But that one just tasted like a Jolly Rancher, essentially. But
Gotcha.
I did remake it and added some lime and hibiscus to kind of try to make it less of Jolly Ranchery. But
Gotcha.
I think they turned out well. So it's usually if I make something once and it's awful, I'll approach
Try
it
it again.
try it again, approach it in a different way.
There you go.
So it's a learning experience always. So
We had a question here. What's your preferred fruiting rate for Mellow Mel? Found a great blackberry patch and I want to give them a crack. So I'm assuming that means pounds per gallon.
yeah, it all depends on what fruit. I'd say like at least 5 pounds per gallon.
Ken Schramm level.
Yeah, 5 to 8 pounds per gallon. For the, maybe 4 for those darker fruits. If you're doing strawberries, I've seen 10 pounds per gallon.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, for the blackberries, you should be able to get away with like a 5 pound per gallon. And I always do my fruit in primary.
To get something that comes across this characteristic like?
Yeah. Bigger body, bigger, better color. I use Opti Red, other additives like that, those tannins, to kind of bring out the color more.
Do you use added tannins, or do you always just let it be what it is? Or let me phrase that. Do you use like tannin, like I guess you were just saying that you did, or do you prefer to use like the oaking method?
I use both.
Okay.
Most of the dark fruit stuff I'll use oak as well, but yeah, I use Opti Red and FT Rouge Berry, I believe it's called, and Booster Rouge. I use all those just kind of to, bring out the most I can from the fruit.
I didn't see on the bottles. Are we potassium metabisulfite? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Stabilize, yeah. With
Stabilize.
K-Meta and sorbate.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, well, as a homebrew, you don't have to put that on there. That's fantastic. I keep looking at these. I'm scrutinizing these like a commercial bottle. But
yeah, I used to put the ABV on there too, but I usually have the labels before I'm done, so it's oftentimes it's
too late.
It's slightly off, and everyone's on tap, so I just put the ABV there. And obviously, I'm a homebrewer. I don't have to include everything.
Right. Well, definitely coming up on the end of the hour here. You got a couple minutes for some just rapid fire questions?
Yeah.
Right on. So what's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning?
Get coffee. Actually, no, that's the second thing I do. I let the cats in.
Let the cats in.
Let the cats in and feed the cats, but then I also get my caffeine. So usually coffee or an energy drink.
Hot or cold?
I prefer cold coffee, but
I just meant in general.
oh, cold for sure.
You use your turn signal?
Oh yeah.
Well, this seems kind of silly. Cat or dog person?
Cat. 100% cat person. I grew up as a dog person, but I'm a cat dad.
Do you put pineapple on your pizza?
I would eat it, yes.
Toilet paper, hang over the front or under the back?
Over front.
The first mead you ever got trashed on?
Oh, I don't even know. It would have to be some of my drier white wine ones early on.
Favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Thin Mint.
Thin Mints. Burgers or pizza?
Burgers. That's a
I
tough one.
don't get burgers a lot. Pizza's pretty much usually the clear runaway on that one. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I would want to know everything in the world. All
Woo,
knowledge.
That's a dangerous one. What's the worst job you ever had?
Worst job, probably pizza delivery boy. My first job when I was 16. Trying to deliver pizzas, not knowing anything about where I was. First time driving.
That would definitely do it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite beer style to drink?
Basic. I like hazies.
I'm basic. I like hazy.
Yeah.
What's the best Halloween costume you ever did?
I'm not big on Halloween, I am, but I'm not big on dressing up.
One of your favorite costumes you've ever seen then?
That's a tough one. I think my wife said she dressed up as Marcel the Shell one year.
Oh, all right. That's kind of random.
Yeah, so
Fair enough. And if you weren't a mead maker, what would you be doing? I guess you do have a 9 to 5 as well, but aside from that, if you weren't going to be making mead, what would you do?
making beer, working at a animal clinic, maybe. I don't know.
Something.
Yeah, something helpful, something to give back. I enjoy my 9 to 5 software support. But yeah, I don't know.
Something. So one of your passion projects would dominate your time, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight, Jeremy. I appreciate it. Learned a lot and got to sample some great meads. Anybody out there, if you're looking to try his stuff, like he said, if you hit him up, he might grace you with a bottle or two. And somebody else reach out to this man. Let's get him some bottles too. I don't know how many people are sending you their bottles, but for as generous as you are, let's get some return favors. I know I got a couple bottles brewing up here with your name on them. So anybody out there who hasn't tried this stuff, like I said, reach out to him. Go follow him on all the socials and all that stuff, because this guy is doing it big, and I put my money on it that is going to be a big name over the next 5 years. So keep your ears out, everybody. Jeremy Klausing, thank you so much again for being here, man. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
No problem, man. Have a good rest of your evening. I will talk to you in the future.
Talk to you. Take care. Bye.
Yep, you too. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. That was super fantastic and awesome. Jeremy is a great dude, and it can be an inspiration. Pretty much, he's an inspiration to me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other cats out there, after trying his stuff and then hearing him talk about his passions and his just, how badass of a human being he is. So go out there, try his stuff, hit him up, send him a bottle, request a couple bottles, enter one of his contests, donate to one of his charities, and I think it'll all be the business. So see y'all next week for a regular TK Tuesday night live, just drinking and bullshitting. And the following week, we will have an interview. I believe that is going to be on the 17th, and that will be with McGee's Mead out of California. And then at the end of the month, I believe my next one is going to be with, man, I have them all written down. I think it's going to be either Sidetrack or there's a couple other people, but I'll have it all posted. Like I said, I'm scatterbrained. I've been drinking mead. So be on the lookout. Appreciate everybody. Give me a follow, a like over on my YouTube page if you can. And hit me up if you ever want to be on the TK and Drink Show. I love talking to mead makers, home brewers, commercial mead makers, everything like that. Peace. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.